you. So, all right, guys, thanks for allowing me to come here and talk a little bit about E&Y. So my name is Jonathan Danowitz, and my mission at E&Y is to drive what we call teams productivity, focusing on introducing new methods for education, training, and in-application support for the O365 suite, but nowadays it's primarily focused on Teams. So I'm just going to spend just a few minutes just talking. I'll get to some of these slides, but I think what I really want to do is bring Teams up and show you the really great stuff that we produced to get our usage and adoption up to 300,000 people. So we are a 300,000 person shop with a 300,000 person usage for Teams. So our size and our communications needs played a big role for us to have a robust adoption program, that could scale. And the problem at E&Y is we had a number of countries that refused to migrate to cloud. So we needed to reach a balance for a good solution between cloud and non-cloud, and really how would they interconnect. So we went down a couple different paths. So November of last year, we started to push Teams adoption. We got through a lot of those risk regulatory concerns. We put all of that behind us. And we ran into some challenges of different EY countries having different requirements, limitations, of how we can communicate, how we felt it was necessary to do a few of these things. So the first requirement we put out there is to develop what we call KnowHow. Now in my slide, we called it EY Info. Excuse me. We've recently changed the name to KnowHow. And what that is pinning of a SharePoint site on the left-hand rail of Teams. Excuse me for 1 second, guys. Sorry about that. It came from basically a need of, how do we keep people in Teams with a combination of how do we learn about Teams and things like, what is your responsibility? What are you supposed to do when you're in Teams? And I'll showcase that in a moment here. The next part, we knew that email at EY was only so effective, right? We wanted to keep informing people about Teams, but again, we wanted to inform them while they were in Teams itself. So we deployed what we call EY Tech. And EY Tech is basically an app template from Microsoft called Company Communicator. We looked at KnowHow, which is the pinning of the SharePoint site, as sort of static, right? You come here for core resources. We look at EY Tech as it prods you, right? It makes you look for more info. It feeds information into you. And I'll share that in a moment here. And the third leg was we developed what we call AskMe. And AskMe is an app template called FAQ Plus, which is basically a better QA help facility, right? The idea is twofold. Somewhat of an intelligent bot, right, to give you answers to your questions, or if the bot was not able to answer your questions. I have a pretty robust group of individuals global that's available to join your conversation live and assist if you have questions. Now, due to COVID-19, it accelerated the heck out of everything that we planned. So February, we went from having 80,000 people being active to 280,000 people active in Teams in a span of 6 weeks, right, due to work from home. Now to having 300,000 people active using the product. And so what I want to do is run through, okay, we now have 300,000 people we've deployed the product to. That's not really good enough, right? We need you to use the product. So what did we do? So the first thing we did is we pinned right here on the left-hand rail, and I'll show this to you live here in a second, what we call KnowHow. So I'm going to kind of go back and forth from my slide to a live demo, if that's okay here. So you'll see here, this is called KnowHow. And what KnowHow does for us, guys, is it allows us to pin multiple SharePoint sites, and we have tabs going across the top up here to get information out to people. And so we start off with, okay, let's welcome people to Teams. So what we've done here is we have some trending in Teams. We've run some analytics, we've run some telemetry, and we know These are the 4 things that people need assistance with the most. So we want to make sure that we get this up in front right when they click on KnowHow. We also have what we call a Your Responsibility page here. And so within our company, just because you have Teams, we don't know if you're supposed to use Teams for specific features or functions. So how do you get that information? Again, click on KnowHow. You'll come here to Your Responsibility, click your specific service line, and it'll tell you all the great information about Teams, what you're supposed to use Teams for your specific service or service lines that you're doing. The biggest one that we put together is what we call Learn About Teams. And what we wanted to do here is we wanted to ensure that if you had specific questions about Teams and you wanted to kind of read about them, right? You wanted to have a fundamental understanding of, hey, how do I do this or how do I do that? We asked you to come to Learn About Teams, and this is in all of our communications that we send out. We point you to a single place, which is KnowHow. You'll come here to Learn About Teams, and we've created sways, right? So we wanted to continue to use Microsoft products. I'll just kind of open one up here where it says Work in Teams. So if you're coming in here and you want to say, hey, how do I work in Teams? What's the best way to do it? You'll come down here and you'll start to read what the best process is for you to work through Teams. What we've done, and I think I kind of laugh about some of this, but I'm a big fan of these little GIFs, right? I think it's really important, guys, that this helped us with our adoption to create these quick 10-second GIFs within documentation. Because people like to quickly read, but they lose focus, we found, very quick. But if you show them kind of, hey, this is how you do it, this is where you click, they'll kind of adopt to what you're trying to showcase much quicker and much faster. Okay. Oops, let me go back here. And then finally, we kind of took this from the Microsoft down here, help desk, what's new. This has been a huge advantage for us from a usage or a user adoption perspective. For whatever reason, people do not want to come here. They don't really know that the help is down here. So essentially, we've taken the help, we've created a SharePoint site, and we'll start to showcase, okay, guys, here's what's coming soon in Teams, and here's what's already been deployed. Now, we've decided to only go back 2 months. So we'll go back to previous month and current month, and we'll keep updating this. So again, we'll point people back to our SharePoint site and say, hey guys, go ahead and take a look. What's new, what's fresh, what's coming out. And then finally, we have a getting help. So if you need to know, hey, where do I go? What do I need to do? This is where we point everybody to be able to get any and all information as well as help within the product itself. And so because of my training that I do often, I do want to pause here. So that's the first piece from a user adoption perspective. By pinning these SharePoint sites, guys, here, we have increased our usage and adoption by now. I think we're up to about 48% as we posted this on the left-hand rail, a 48% usage and adoption rate increased with Teams. So I cannot stress enough how awesome doing something as simple as pinning SharePoint sites helps with usage and adoption. So let me pause there and see if anybody has questions on pinning of SharePoint sites. Okay. The next is what we call AskMe. Okay. So AskMe is kind of these application templates that Jace was talking about before. And I think Matt's going to get heavily into this as well too. So this is a kind of a question answer bot. Now we called it AskMe. So you can come in here and you can say, what is Teams? It'll take a second, it'll churn, and it'll come back with an answer to, whatever question you're asking it. Now, at E&Y, we specifically only call out Teams-related questions. And I'll show you some stats here in a moment as well, too. And so, okay, I've asked this question about Teams, but I don't quite either understand as a user, or I want some additional information. What this bot then allows you to do is it has what's called Ask an Expert. Now, by clicking Ask an Expert, it'll then bring up the next leg of the bot itself, and you'll see you can kind of add some additional description, some additional information in here. Need more info about, let's say channels. Now I have, and this is where I want to make sure that I kind of talk to this group real life, real time here, not from a Microsoft perspective. This is a great bot, guys, right? So I hit Ask an Expert. One thing that we did to make sure that this was super successful, I have a group of 9 people around the world that is waiting to answer questions, right? We wanted to make sure that we had an SLA of no more than 1 hour to get back to you to answer a question, right? We don't want our users to go to our local help desk. A, they would have flooded that local help desk with questions about Teams. B, the local help desk may not have been able to help them because they're just not as knowledgeable, and the user would have had a poor perception of Teams. So we wanted to make sure we had a robust team, a team that knew the product to be able to answer your question almost in real time. So these users now, this message is now assigned to a specific expert. He or she will then get back to me, whether it's live, meaning through a chat, or he or she will call me direct. Okay, we were receiving, let me show you some stats on this here. Okay, when we first deployed this in January, guys, you'll see here, we wanted to have a good, robust kind of deployment of this product. So we had about 7,900 questions being asked. The bot then took a little bit of a dip in February, but look what happened here, and this really helped. If you guys are looking to get some big adoption, if you're looking to do big rollouts of Teams, and this is really due to the COVID, is we're being asked 22,000 questions, right, in the month of March, specifically about Teams itself. So imagine having 22,000 questions being asked to your local support about Teams. They just would have been overwhelmed, okay? And so this bot, basically here, you can see we went through most common topics. We went over here about Ask the Expert. So essentially, we were having about 30% of the questions, and you can see the differences coming up to 100 were being asked about these top questions here to the bot itself. And then we were having questions, again, from a percentage asked directly to the Ask the Expert group. One thing about this bot, guys, and as you're thinking through this, if this is something you're looking to deploy, these are some great top 10 questions that were being asked of us. We would then look at these questions. We would then make sure that we had proper documentation that was out there. We would update all of our pages. So it really helped us from a user and a usage perspective. But one thing that we did notice is we were getting lots of non-related Teams questions. So be prepared within the bot to have something in there that says, hey, this is a non-Teams related question. We don't have a way to answer your question. Or potentially you want to expand on that bot and say, we're going to add more than just Teams related. We're going to expand it out to whatever it is you guys are trying to accomplish. So let me pause there for a moment, see if anybody has a question around either the pinning of the apps or what we call AskMe. Okay. I think the last one for us, what we call EY Tech. Okay, so let me kind of showcase that a little bit here. So EY Tech is the ability to send a message, right? So we wanted to be able to stay within Teams, and we wanted to be able to send messages out to 300,000 people in a fast and efficient way. And so what we've done over the past couple of weeks, and I'll showcase here in a minute, is we have sent our top Teams tips. So within every 2 weeks, we'll send out a new tip. And you'll see here, we have sent and reached over 300,000 people. And imagine, let me just show you guys these stats here, because I find this to be awesome, is when we send this tip out, we've sent this tip out to over 300,000 people, and we did it in 3.5 hours, right? It's unbelievable how you can use this product. So we're sending it out for a top tip, but imagine if there's a crisis, right? Imagine if there's a problem going on. Imagine if Teams is down or something happens within Teams that you need to notify people. Use this product to send that information out, and look how quickly you can reach your people, right, with ease and efficiency. Any questions on this? Because I think this EY Tech, this KnowHow and AskMe, guys, has really brought our usage and adoption. We wouldn't be where we're at today without these three. So the last piece, and I'd be remiss not to kind of talk about it. Let me see if I brought it up. Yeah. We have, because we have so many people, and people have different thoughts about wanting to learn, right, and be trained. So we do our own EY internal trainings. We also utilize now the e-learning, right, from Microsoft, right? This is their video web-based training as well, too. But one thing I want to call out, if you guys are not aware of this, is the Microsoft stores. Okay, so why the Microsoft stores? Well, they offer either in-store. Nowadays, I don't think many people are going there, but they also offer virtual training for us. And so what we've done is we've created a sway here that we'll send out to our customers. They can come out here and sign up to take live training provided by the Microsoft stores. So if they want to come here on the week of, say, June 9th, we put in different time zones. The stores are amazing to work with. They gave us different time zones with different trainers to work against. So we'll come out here. Your user would basically click on, whatever day they want to do. An event will pop up. They'll go ahead and they'll sign up for that specific training, and they'll show up. We have used this store right now. I believe we've trained over 7,000 people across 31 countries, and we've had about 80 sessions from March till the end of July. And it has really also helped to increase our usage and adoption, going from, we were sort of in that curve. We were really in that 15% kind of far left where those enthusiasts were there wanting to use Teams. These four components, guys, have increased us up to that 300,000 mark for usage and adoption. So I want to pause. Anybody have any questions? Anybody want me to review anything more that we've done with the product?
Jonathan, this is Karen Croto. I'm actually a customer success manager at Microsoft. And first off, I think this is phenomenal, all the stuff that you have done to help in the adoption and change management space. I was curious to get a little bit more from you on asking the experts. And you made mention that you had 8 folks kind of globally dispersed. Really a twofold question. Are those folks IT folks, or are they a combination of IT and business folks? And second question, what training did you have those folks take to become the experts within your organization?
Yeah, good question. So they're IT folks, right? So we hired them specifically and only to answer these questions, right? We did not want to bring in a business line, because I think it's the business who's calling in and these bots and wanting to know, hey, how do I do this? How do I do that? And that's an important piece of the bot for E&Y. We are not break fix. We are how to only. Okay. So what'll happen is, how do I do this? How do I do that? If a customer puts some information into the bot on this isn't working, this is broke, we also have a plan that we will help create a ServiceNow ticket for that customer and send it off to their local help desk for them, right? The biggest key for us is we want people happy when they're within the product. If you give them a poor user experience there, they're just going to not want to continue to use Teams, okay? Question 2, remind me again, I lost track, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Just what specific training you had those experts take to become expert level?
Yeah, so a couple things. One is they went through the Microsoft trainings, right, from the stores for us. That's number one. And number 2, there's 2 of us, including myself, who we consider ourselves expert trainers within Teams. They needed to run through a training session from us. And also what we've done there is, in a sense, have them pass a little bit of a test from us as well to ensure that they can help answer these questions. But the stores, I can't stress it enough, has been a godsend for us. Those stores has really helped not just our experts internally learn Teams, but also our customers as well too. One gotcha here, guys. If you're going to start, and I'm not sure why my icons, I apologize, are not showing here, but one gotcha that I do want to make sure that I call out, as you're continuing to think through app templates, right? You need to think about how you're going to deploy them. So what we at EY have done is we pinned AskMe, we pinned the KnowHow and EY Tech on this left-hand rail. And by pinning that, it basically does not, the customer on the other end, so all 300,000 folks, they don't need to go to the App Store. It automatically shows up for them, right? So we didn't want to have them go into the App Store and download each individual app. Okay, so that's the first thing. Second, however, and I'm not sure why this is, and I don't know who's on the call and where everybody's from, but we found that a lot of folks in Europe, their display on their machines are set fairly high. And when your display settings are set kind of fairly high and you kind of zoom, you'll see that there's only so much real estate that's shown here on the left-hand side. So depending on what people have their settings for, you'll see that some of these apps drop on the left-hand side. And so one thing that we've done, and I think it's important for people to also start to think about this, is if you deploy an app and pin them on the left-hand side, you may have to determine which ones are more valuable to you that you want your customers to see, and then move them up the left-hand rail. So keep that in mind as you're deploying all of these great apps that are out there for you to see.
So this is Christine Dunn. I have a question.
Sure.
Okay, so there's the adoption with trying to get users to adopt Teams. So how did you guys get them to adopt the other apps, like the AskMe, the KnowHow?
So campaigns, right? Communication campaigns. So the first thing is, obviously, we used EY Tech for these cards you'll see here. Okay, so we have all different types of cards that we produced. These cards will show up as a chat, and it will also stay right here for us. And this is another reason we pin this here, is if you don't see it in the chat because it's buried, you have the option to come here to EY Tech and you can see your cards here. So that's one. Number two, we did a pretty aggressive email campaign. However, email, guys, right, depending on the size of your company, really gets lost. But we did have an aggressive email campaign as well too. And I guess the last piece for us was really around the trainings. So any trainings that either provided by me and my team, whenever anybody asks the experts a question, whenever we do any of the live trainings from Microsoft, we point everybody back to KnowHow, right? We tell them this is your one-stop shop for information. We used to have a dedicated SharePoint Online site where we would point people to. We've kind of flipped a bit. That's more of a sell page for us. And the reason for that, obviously, is we want you in Teams, right? So any and all times that we can communicate with a customer, we point them back to a single place, and that single place is, for us, is KnowHow.
Okay.
Are you struggling? Is that why? Is there a struggle to get people to adopt?
No. Well, I'm just asking because that's my career. Like I do change management and helping companies adopt Teams. And so I noticed that when you're trying to adopt, you're pushing Teams to get the end users to adopt it. I was just wondering, how do you get them to focus on both? Because you're trying to get them to focus on Teams, but then at the same time, now you're asking them to focus on these other apps when they're trying to, comprehend and understand and use Teams. That's why I was asking.
Yeah, and it's a great question. So we, do I have time here, guys? I don't know where I'm at from a time perspective. Matt, am I okay?
Totally. Go for it.
So we changed our method so Microsoft was really big in the beginning was, hey, this is not Skype 2.0. It's not the next version, right? And so we went down that path, and it was a mistake for us, right? And so what we basically told our customers is, just look at this like it's a replacement for Skype. Just use the core and basic functions of Teams like you would with Skype for Business, right? So we went through, what is this button? What does it do? To finally, right, once people got familiar with the core and base foundation of Teams, is when I click this button, how does it make me more effective in what I do? So we had to basically show the different business service lines of, hey, don't worry about these features. Instead of worrying about the features, let me show you how Teams will make what you do, make you more, better at your job. And we went out to each of the different service lines. I can't tell you how many training sessions and how many hundreds of people I'd be on the call. You really need to be aggressive with this, guys. It's not just going to happen just by you putting out a communication. It's not going to happen just by having all these app templates. You really need an aggressive group that, again, it's not feature sets. I can't highly stress enough. We got to get away from just showing, hey, you can do this, you can do that. It's more around, how does it make that customer, when they use this product, more effective?
Right. And I have another question with the AskMe. Do you guys have follow-up? So like if they're asking the expert on something, do you guys have like an automated follow-up on how they're doing, or if they need something else?
It's not an automated process. We have our experts, actually, we have a sheet, in the back end, and we follow up 3 days after, if we've solved it, or even if we've rerouted them back to help desk, we will in 3 days follow up with a message asking how things are going.
Okay.
I wanted to ask a quick question about how your channel adoption is versus your direct messaging adoption. Are your users using Teams and Teams channels, or direct messaging and group chats?
So both. I can tell you, however, it's interesting you bring that up, and I wish I have it, but it'll take too long to bring up for this call. We have seen, as of recent, a decline in channel messages, right? Now, at E&Y, we're a very data and analytic driven group, right? So I'm going to give you what my reasons are, but it's just hypothetical at the moment. We're still digging into this. Due to COVID-19, I think right now, I feel that there's people on the bench in a sense, right? That there's not that much, there's less work happening than there was 3 months ago. Okay, so that's why I think we've had a decrease in channel chats. Prior to the 3 months, our channel chats were pretty significant. Now, that also could be due to, as we were rolling this out, it was the new shiny tool as well, right? So people were using it. But we absolutely have more people in the private or personal chats, right, group chats, than channel chats. And that's one of our biggest, we're constantly, and I'll show you here, we are constantly trying to get people to kind of be more productive with channel chats. And we've done that using one of these cards here, right? So we've sent out a card recently, and this is what I wanted to show you guys. That specific topic with getting people to use more channel chats, you'll see here, we just sent this out. We have, once our EY Tech card went out, right? That's that company communicator. In 1 day after it going out, we had 30,000 people view my sway about why you should use channel chats. And it was awesome, right? And we've now increased that usage due to that. So I can't stress enough, guys, that you have to constantly be on your people to communicate to them, and it can't be one way. You have to come at it at multiple different angles, right? People like to get information differently, and they like to learn differently.
That's pretty insane. So you guys sent out that company communicator announcement, and 30,000 people just in that announcement looked at the sway?
In 2 days, they looked at the sway.
Wow.
Yeah, listen, we're not expecting all these people to always look at our sways, right? They're doing their own work. But I mean, can you imagine getting 30,000 people in 2 days to look at something that